Hello, my brothers. Today, we are talking about some video games, and of course, I am Enzo. Auditor, no, no. I'm Enzo. This is my this is my forever co-host John. Today, we're talking about Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It's been a while since we did press start, but like, we're adulting, and it's rare for us to complete a game, let alone play it.
Yeah, so we're just doing games that we've already completed maybe years ago in our childhood and
Yeah.
just like going off by memory.
Yeah, and also this is like a countdown, kind of a countdown to like the newest Assassin's Creed coming out in November. Um,
Oh, sorry.
you don't give it a chance. I mean, I know what you know,
I,
but we'll get
I'm
to
sorry,
that
I'm giving
later.
Warhammer a chance. Like, I'm excited for
Ooh,
that shit.
me too. That's why I skipped over the Ubisoft Star Wars. I'm like, nah, man, Warhammer has my interest. Sorry. Anyway,
Yeah, there's a whole controversy with that, but like, anyway, let's get on with the
With,
review.
with the Star Wars? Ah, fuck. Anyway, yeah. Well, we're talking about Ubisoft when we all like Ubisoft, so and Assassin's Creed for that matter. But yeah, I know we talked about this during our Assassin's Creed 3 video that we did years ago because it was that anniversary for that video game.
Yeah.
But for the newcomers, how did you come to Assassin's Creed and like leading up to Brotherhood? Or was Brotherhood your start?
Uh, Not gonna lie, Brotherhood is my start.
Hmm.
I know that I was supposed to play like two and then Brotherhood, but I got the Brotherhood game right off the bat because I think it was a Christmas present
Hmm.
when I first got the PS3,
Yeah.
and like I never played the other Assassin's Creed games, just had like a vague idea
Yeah.
of like how to play it. Like you're supposed to blend in, you're supposed to like quietly kill people, and around the time I wasn't really into that.
Hmm.
I kind of want to go guns a blazing, but like after seeing the cool hoods
Yeah.
and the trailer for Assassin's Creed, I
Yeah.
was like, I want to give this shit a shot. So
Yeah.
why not? And I fucking loved it, every single minute of it. And like rewatching like gameplay, because sorry to say, PS3 is broken. Brotherhood can't play it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, after watching like a couple of gameplays, just getting the gist of the story down, it really hit like a nostalgia bone for me, and I was just like, ah, like it brings me back. I remember like sitting on the couch just playing this like nonstop, and then for a kid, I like, I think this is probably my first 100% game. You know, like I did 100% on it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Um. Yeah. For me, like I knew of Assassin's Creed. I think my first one was like on the PSP with like Altair. So that was my introduction to it. But like you and Ed were always like, one, you please join us and get a PS3. You can't sit around with your PS2 forever. And I'm like, okay. And two, like I saw videos of AC Brotherhood, and I was like, that looks fun. That looks extremely fun. And then like when I got a PS3, this is my first like modern console, modern game, and like I was just blown away by it. Cause like again, I came from PS2 to PS3, so I'm like, holy fuck, I noticed everything. And like
yeah,
right away, like if this is your first time playing any Assassin's Creed, like I think Brotherhood is a great first start, even though chronologically you should play two, because
yeah,
like I think this is like right around the time like Ubisoft in general like peaked in their design, like we're peaking because Rome looks so great and like Ezio controls so fine and like the gameplay is just it's just smooth. It's just smooth. There's no other way to describe it.
yeah.
Though you do get lost at like the beginning story wise because you're like, what? Who's Mario? Who are you? Why?
Hey, who's this fat guy I'm chasing?
Yeah,
It's the Pope.
yeah, yeah. And the introduction is the ending of two, and you're like, why am I chasing the Pope? What's up? But like, as a history buff back then, I was like, I know who that is. I know who everyone is. Holy fuck.
It's a fucking Borgia. I'm like,
Yeah. Um, but yeah, the whole idea of Assassin's Creed was just so intriguing to me because it's historical fiction, and like for a history buff myself, it was such a great playground to play in, and like again, Rome being so huge, this huge open world, you're like, I can explore everything. This is new to me. Like I don't think I've ever played a an open world that big before. Like I don't remember PS2 having that many open worlds. I don't know. My memory could be foggy.
Uh, I can't recall any right now off the bat, but like
Yeah.
I do agree. I think this is probably one of my first
Yeah.
or like the first open world game that I did finish.
Yeah.
And people like I remember people saying that it was a little linear
Yeah.
compared to the other Assassin's Creed, where other Assassin's Creed you kind of had like full range, while yeah, Brotherhood's like open world, but it's kind of
Yeah.
on rails.
Yeah.
I did not notice it, and I feel like if you don't notice it, the game devs did an amazing job making you not feel it.
Yeah. At the time, I was like, I don't care. I can explore this huge map, and yeah, I
Yeah.
can't emphasize this enough that Rome was huge. You think like, oh, one city, that's kind of lame, but then you go to Rome, you're like, holy fuck, Jesus, there's so much space. Oh my god.
Right.
And
Right, like it's the 15th, well, 16th century, and
Yeah.
you're like, nothing's much here except for like little houses and like
yeah.
little buildings.
And like the attention to detail that the historical team did back then, you're just like, it just amazes you because you're like you look at maps. If you ever look at maps from like that century and you look at the game, and you look at the map again, you're like, my God, the attention to detail is like uncanny.
Dude, the fact that like I remember we had a subject in school where they were talking about Rome, and I was like, I
Yeah,
got
you're
this.
like, all
You know,
right.
you're like, like I've been prepping for this.
Yeah.
Like that's what I loved about like Assassin's Creed back in the day,
Yeah.
where they kind of didn't go off the go off the rails with the whole gods and stuff concept,
Yeah.
and where they were going off like actual events in history where you meet actual historical people. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of there up to Black Flag maybe,
Hmm.
where we're like having these like reoccurring characters like we get Benjamin Franklin in 3, we get Leonardo da Vinci in Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Like I learned more about Leonardo da Vinci in Assassin's Creed rather I did in like
In
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't know how far you've played after Black Flag, but like the historical accuracies are still there until like Origins for me. Like Origins is where it peaked in terms of like detail, and then it just dipped once they were like, let's make Greek mythology and Assassin's Creed come together in Odyssey, and I'm like, but one, you said Origins was Origins, and it's before Origins, so I don't understand. And two, we're literally fighting Cyclopses here. Like in Origins, like you do fight mythological beings, but that's because you're like under a trance. Like you're like have a like
You're hallucinating.
yeah. So but in Odyssey, you literally just see a Cyclops. You're like, we're not supposed to be here. What the fuck?
Yeah, and that's why I'm not really like keen on nowadays, where like you get that kind of shit, especially
Yeah.
with the Viking stuff. They're kind of cool, but if they were a standalone game,
Yeah.
but if it's still under the AC, banner,
Yeah.
it kind of took me out of it because I'm like, this is how I learn history.
Yeah.
Like this is how I got into history. This is why I became a history buff. Is that the games made history cool, and now we don't get it that much.
Yeah, because in Valhalla, you play as Odin at one point, and I'm like, I'm literally here to learn. I don't understand what's the point.
Yeah.
And like another thing that's lost in the modern ACs is the parkour. I remember Brotherhood, even though it is about a bit outdated, like the parkour feels again smooth. Like you're literally going across like these old timey buildings, and like the fact that there's so much detail. Like when you climb the Colosseum, it's a lot decrepit, and I like that detail. And when you're going over roofs, you can hear like the sound design of stepping on tiles like that. And Ezio is just like a parkour master. Like if you look at this and you look at the Viking one, where the Viking is like literally struggling to go over rooftops, and I'm like, that's weird. It's like a Viking wasn't made to be agile, you know?
Yeah. One thing, now that you mentioned like movement and stuff, I will say the combat's really fucking good in like AC Brotherhood,
Yeah.
especially the weapons. Like you can like play around with like your armor, and that's one thing I miss.
Yeah.
I really miss when you used to play around with your armor, where you could add things to Ezio
Yeah.
for like defense and like how you want to play him. And I once I like completed the game,
Yeah.
like I went with this whole Grim Reaper look. Sadly, there was no scythe, but I had a huge ass axe.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. And what's even better is that you could like throw it.
Yeah. At some points, I didn't even use like a weapon. I was just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna use this.
Show up.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, like the hidden blades over time, you're like, this thing used to be like Wolverine's claws, and now they're just like I can barely use it for defense. You're like, that's kind of lame. Like when
Yeah.
Ezio could, as Ezio, I would like take out like 20 people with it, and like in other games, I'm like, oh, it's just meant for stabbing. What a shame.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame. 3, I swear to God, you just you as Connor, you just take them out with your bare hands.
Yeah.
I'm like, my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been playing Black Flag recently. I'm like,
I
Let's
saw
go.
I saw the video you posted.
yeah. But yeah, like just the way AC plays, like I like looking back then and then looking at now, I'm just like, I'm kind of tired of this whole AC want to be an RPG. I just want AC to be AC. Like it, I love the innovations in Black Flag and like going back to Brotherhood. I don't mind the whole, I don't mind the enemies waiting for their turn to be slaughtered. I just hate the nowadays where it's like, oh, your bow, you can't headshot a person because your bow is too low. I'm like, but a headshot's a headshot. What do you mean?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, I forgot like this one. I think AC Brotherhood is the one that kinda introduced us to the hidden gun.
Yeah, I love that.
Besides the hidden blade, you had a hidden gun.
Yeah.
And I love that shit. And but like playing around with that,
Yeah.
especially like for me when I lose my large weapon,
Hmm.
I have these two things.
Yeah.
I'm like I felt like a god.
Yeah.
Where yeah, like I am a mythical creature now.
Yeah. It literally.
My horse was black. I was all in black, well navy blue, but yeah.
Yeah. It literally felt like you were an assassin with that hidden gun because like later on in 3 and Black Flag, you literally have a gun, and when you point it at someone, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Whereas in Brotherhood, they're like, "Why are you raising your hand?" And then just a red dot. Oh fuck.
Yeah, that was the oddest thing to me as well. Is that Ezio like would shoot the gun and he'll just do something, and
Yeah.
then he's ready to go for another shot. While
Yeah.
in Black Flag, like, bang. You know, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, did that design get lost somewhere along the way? It seems a bit more handy than just, oh fuck, I have to reload again. Shit.
I guess it's only in Italy, you know.
I guess.
But yeah. Oh, one thing I need to mention is the recruitment system. So, like, once you go around Italy, you'll see like a bunch of guards maybe harassing a person, and then
Yeah.
you have the option to like take out the guards and then go up to the person and be like, the liberation of Roma has begun.
Yeah.
And you could recruit them as an assassin, and then you could like, I'm sorry to say, they beat MGS to the punch, you know. like Metal Gear like Solid 5 like took inspiration from this for fucking sure.
Yeah.
So you could send off people off into missions.
Yeah.
Like if you have a good amount of teams and they're like capable enough,
Yeah.
you could send them off into missions, and there's like a ranking for that mission. It's like if it's high reward but high risk, low reward, low risk.
Yeah.
And if you go for the higher ones, there's a good chance your guy will die. And I'm like, that is so fucking sick. Because sometimes like if they're like maybe a high level, they could still die. And then
Yeah.
one thing I wish they could bring back, but sadly they only did it for Brotherhood, is when you would whistle,
Hmm.
and then like you're in a sticky situation,
Yeah.
you whistle, magical arrows would appear, and that's your assassins like having your back. And I'm like, which made me felt more like a god, where I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have my own followers now and stuff. And I'm like, oh, so good.
Yeah.
And I don't know with you, but when like an assassin dies on the field, I actually like give them a proper like burial. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
put
me
them
too.
like at a nice spot. Like I put them down gently,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is where you rest. And then like the assassins would just go, and I'm like, oh,
I usually try to bring them to the Coliseum because I'm like, you are a brave warrior. You deserve the best.
oh, that's sick, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, there's never been a protagonist in AC that we've seen their whole life since Ezio, and like, this is where like
Yeah.
I like Ezio is still like one of the more definitive characters. Like, when I think of Assassin's Creed, I think of Ezio, and like I've been attached to him ever since. Like, the only character I'm really that much attached to is Edward, but he only has
Edward,
one
yeah.
game. But like Ezio, we saw his origins in 2, and his end in Revelations, and like again, there's never been such a charismatic character too. Like, aside from Edward, of course. But Connor, honestly, I love 3, but like Connor's just like, I must do this because it is the right thing to do. I'm like, all right, you brick wall, let's go. And
Let's.
and maybe the protagonist of Origins, but like that's about it. Like, I can't remember the guy for Unity. Maybe that's because he kept running into walls because of the glitches.
Yeah, I heard Unity is actually really good. Like, it's all fixed now.
Yeah.
Then people said it's a pretty good game, so I'm like, I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, mechanical wise, it's great. Story wise, it's like it's alright.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like the whole secret, like, oh, my lover's a Templar thing is like that story is just like alright in my opinion. But like the parkour is pretty good. Like Unity's parkour is peak, in my opinion. And like if you play that one day, maybe we'll talk about it. But for now,
Yeah, I'm done.
like again, Ezio, like here, like I barely knew his girlfriend from the last game, but when you see his memories about his girl, I'm like, oh fuck, shit, I barely knew you. I feel so bad for Ezio though.
Yeah, like Ezio having like this whole Arthur Morgan
Yeah,
with that one girl,
yeah,
you know, I'm like, oh shit, this is a long lost lover kind of deal.
yeah. And like speaking of story, I feel like the modern story with Desmond, like I've never cared about the modern story when Desmond
Not
died.
at all.
Yeah. And that's because they surrounded it with such interesting characters, right? Like him, Lucy, Sean, Rebecca, and like at the end when you stab Lucy and you're like, what the fuck? Excuse me? Why? And then you find out she's a Templar in the next game. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm still sad I stabbed Anna from Frozen, but damn, didn't know she was a Templar. Yeah, that's Kristen Bell. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Shit. Okay.
But like, I've never cared about the modern story after Desmond. Like even when I'm Edward, like you're literally a nameless protagonist. When it's Edward's story, you're just like a
Yeah.
dipshit employee of like Abstergo, and you're like, okay, this is my life now. Oh well.
Yeah.
And like later on, you find out like you're a descendant of Thor, and I'm like, come here to learn. Don't give a shit about your incoherent story, Ubisoft. But yeah, yeah. This is. I know part of this video is us being like, I miss the olden days, but it's just because the olden days were just so good for Assassin's Creed. And like honestly, after Black Flag, Ubisoft has never come back to that peak, and it's such a shame to see it become this like gaming company that does the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Same thing with Far Cry. Like I've played the latest Far Cry, and I'm like, wow, it feels like I'm playing Far Cry 3 all over again, not in a good way.
Yeah. Like the amount of times they recycle. Like if only they had that kind of mentality for the environment.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I hear they made an Avatar game that's like Far Cry with an Avatar skin. And like I saw a gameplay of Star Wars Outlaws, I'm like, that looks so uninspired, it's not even funny. Oh well. You're saying you knew some controversies about that?
No, cause like clearly some game reviewers are very obviously calling this game like near perfect when it's not.
Oh yeah.
Like real people are actually playing it, but and then they're like, "What do you mean this thing's like kind of trash?"
Yeah.
Like it's uninspired. It's not trash, but it's uninspiring.
Yeah.
And then you have a game like the Wukong game. I forgot what it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong or something like
Yeah.
that. And like they were like, "Hey, this one there's no diversity."
Yeah.
I was like, "It's set in ancient China, you fucking."
'Cause
Yeah,
I
like
saw that review too. I'm like, what do you mean?
yeah, yeah. There's no diversity, and
Yeah.
it's kind of clunky.
Yeah.
And then people are like, "What?" And then they compared two of the gameplays. Like the Wukong game was like
Yeah.
fucking smooth, absolutely like badass. You look amazing, and
Yeah.
the combat's really great.
Yeah.
And then you have something like Star Wars Outlaws,
Yeah.
where the girl like would like strangle somebody and like slide like 10 feet back.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, all right.
Yeah. Like nowadays, there's a clear like line where it comes to like most AAA titles, like something like Star Wars Outlaws compared to like smaller companies like the one making Space Marine 2. When you see Space Marine 2, you're like, that looks fucking amazing, and then you see Star Wars Outlaws, and you're like, that looks like a Ubisoft game, you know?
It does. It
Yeah.
does. It feels like one too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know me and Enzo, yeah, as you said, we kind of just like reminiscent of like older games when they were better.
Yeah.
Um, and like I did say that like, oh, we're going off like the whole magic thing
Yeah.
with the recent ones. Yes, there is a bit of magic here with the Apple of Eden,
Yeah.
but I was like, it was like a taste of like little like magic back in the past that was lost knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, kind of deal. Like it was done tastefully instead of like made it its entire character.
Yeah. It's like
yeah.
how Rogue One, there's no magic until like you see bits of like a sorcerer, and you're just like, whoa, that's cool. Like the same thing
Yeah.
with Brotherhood when they start using the apple for like the last act of this game, and you're like, damn, that's powerful. But like they
Yeah.
don't use it. Like it's not like Ezio goes around using it, because
Yeah.
they know like if you use that, then there's no risk, there's no nothing, there's no reward. It's not satisfying.
Yeah.
Whereas in the games, you're like, yeah, you can have Thor's hammer and it has the magic, but I'm like, came here to be 1, a Viking, 2, an assassin, 3. I think you're literally losing the plot of why we love your game so much in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know we're a bit going on like a tangent, but like again, we just missed the days because we were there for it. Like another complaint I have is that like Assassin's Creed kills aren't like as satisfying. Like there are moments where Ezio would just grab someone and just ram his thing into their face. I'm like, holy fuck!
Yeah, like the man pulls off like a Robert Pattinson Batman at some points. I'm like, whoa, like I didn't mean to do that,
Right?
but
Like,
and then like, dude, I remember right, there were these assassins
Yeah.
like scattered around Rome, and you're kind of like on a bounty for them.
yeah,
And my absolute favorite kill is when you took out your crossbow. You could actually aim it.
yeah,
I took out my crossbow and banked it off. Like she was going on the pillars,
mm,
like the Roman pillars.
yeah.
I banked it off the roof of the pillar, and it like straight up when it went at her. I was like, I did a trick shot, and I will never forget this.
Yeah, and then you compare like modern AC games. Like if you compare modern AC games and like Ghost of Tsushima, where the Viking one is just like stab and die. Where in Ghost of Tsushima, it's like Jin literally jumps and just sinks his katana into a Mongol and just like pulls it out with like blood and guts, and you're like, fuck, that's satisfying as shit.
Or yeah, like or even just like getting like the beauty of like something like Ghost of Tsushima and like AC2,
Yeah.
like Brotherhood, is that sometimes when you're just doing regular combat, it's satisfying.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, you're doing regular combat to do the satisfying move.
Yeah,
Every move you make is satisfying, and I'm like, that's what I really like. And like if you're able to pull it off properly,
yeah,
like it makes you feel like a badass. And yeah, that's what a lot of these games are missing nowadays. It's like small hit, small hit, small hit until
Yeah.
we could do the big hit. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
yeah. But yeah, we've reminisced enough about AC Brotherhood. I think it's time to give our final verdict. What would you give AC Brotherhood?
I really can't find a fault in this game. Even watching like a bit of like the gameplay
Yeah,
and trying to remember like things I didn't like. I don't know if there was bugs or anything when I played.
Hmm.
Maybe there was, but it was like so far in between that like it never really pulled me out of the experience.
Yeah.
The story is great. Meeting historical characters are really fun, and the puzzles. By the way, you could get like multiple armors here,
Yeah.
and they make you work for it. It's not a microtransaction. That was the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And what's even better is that it's not you're fighting a boss or anything. You are actually legitimately figuring out puzzles.
Yeah.
There was one where me and my brother were stuck on it for 4 hours. Yeah, it's like this like dial thing.
Oh, yeah. I hated that, but it is satisfying once you unlock it.
Yeah, because you get like the fur armor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, you get these things without spending another dime.
Yeah.
Especially the DLC was like, oh, you don't pay for this, you just get it.
Hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
You know, because that's fun. You earn the shit instead of like, I got a bigger pocket than the other person, so I get to play better. Yeah. So Ubisoft, bring that back if you want to be cool again.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't find a fault. I really can't, and I might be going off nostalgia or something, but it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Hmm. Yeah. Same. It might be the nostalgia mixed with like it's just a good game. So I'll also give this a 10 out of 10. Again, it might be biased, but like it's just the whole aspect. Like you brought up microtransactions and like with the whole armor of Romulus. Like I feel like if it came out today, that'd be another one of Ubisoft's bullshit of like you can do like a million of those and grind forever, or you could pay for it. Whereas here, it's like, yeah, you can do 5 challenging things, getting harder each time, but in the end, you get this really cool armor set, and like,
Yeah.
not a dime. It's free. It's yours. You just have to look for it. And like,
Yeah.
same thing with the the color of Altair's like alternate armor, the whole black garb. Again, that's unlockable. You just have to do a side
Yeah,
quest or
you have
something
to.
like that.
Yeah, you have to buy. By the way, this game taught me how to save money.
Yeah.
There's a whole banking system.
Yeah.
Where you can deposit and withdraw, and then there's like interest. I'm like, I think maybe, but I was like, hey,
Yeah, every time you pop in, you're like, you earn like 50,000, whatever the currency was, because you have like 10 banks and 10 stores, or like 50 stores. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's so good. It's so fucking good.
Yeah. But yeah, both 10 out of 10s. It's a really great game, in my opinion. Like, if you want to start Assassin's Creed, this is the best place to start. If you want to stop, I think it's safe to say it's Black Flag, because it doesn't get better from there. Well, maybe Unity if you're that curious. And that's about it. And maybe Origins, but that's about it.
I was Syndicate good.
I barely remember Syndicate, so I don't know. I played it. That's a statement that I barely remember it.
Alright.
I know that you're twins, but yeah, don't remember it. But yeah, that's been our video for Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. I don't know what order we're gonna release these videos, so like there's no definitive start like Assassin's Creed, so we'll just find out what happens. But yeah, if you like our videos, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on TikTok and Spotify. Spotify to hear us on the go, TikTok to hear, yeah, it's fucking hot. TikTok to hear best and funniest moments and our reactions to the latest of trailers. Individually, I am Zoda's Voices on TikTok and Enswolf on Letterboxd. Where can I find you?
Oh, you can find me at JomJoM _ on Instagram, my art account. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway,
See you on the next one. Bye everybody.
Ciao.